preparing to go live, Sal. Bear with me. We should be live. Headphones on. Can you hear me over there, sir?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. All right, let me get set up here. All right, if you're ready, I'm ready.
I am ready.
Welcome to Just Curious Media. This is Let's Talk Cobra Kai. I'm Jason Connell.
And I'm Sal Rodriguez.
All right, Sal, we are back for another episode.
Very excited to be here.
Cobra Kai season 4, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Not just season 4, but it's episode 4. We're chipping away. Lots been happening.
4x4.
4x4. Really exciting episode. I do have something special to share before we jump in.
What?
We have a special treat at the end of this episode when it's released, not the YouTube live version. Unfortunately, this will only be in the podcast version of our episode, as our listeners will hear from Martin Kove himself.
What?
Yes, as he announces his new podcast, Cobra Coves.
Oh, this is crazy.
It's amazing.
Martin Kove has a podcast now.
He does, him and his son and his daughter. It's going to be really cool. They reached out to us recently, and we're doing kind of a, promotion, cross promotion. He's going to mention us. We're actually going to record something, give it to him. He's going to drop it on his show, and we're going to do this for the next 2 episodes. So it will not be part of the YouTube live. It'll be the end of the episode. So stick with it. And no, it's really cool. It's like 1 minute.
That's very exciting.
We're getting closer, Sal. We're in the family.
Oh my God. Wow. It is family. I understand that it's going to be Martin Kove and his son and his daughter. It's like a family affair.
Family affair. Because I was asking them, is he going to be John Kreese? No, he's going to be Martin Kove. They're going to talk about all sorts of things. So wait for the promo, folks. And those of you on YouTube Live, come join us. Download the episode when it launches, when it comes out, and hear that as well. So now I feel like a big time now. We got to do we're doing sponsors. We're doing promos. This is like, what's going on here, Sal? But
I'll tell you what's going on, JC. You know what's going on?
What? Please tell me.
No mercy.
No mercy is happening for sure. So now a word from our sponsor before we get into things. Support for Let's Talk Cobra Kai is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming and offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. And with this exclusive offer, you'll get
20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code cobrakai at manscaped.com.
Fabulous. All right. So Cobra Kai is brought to you by Netflix. And every episode this season dropped on December 31st, 2021. Oh, yeah. Today we are covering season 4, episode 4. Sal, do you want to take the name of this one?
Sure. The name of this episode is Bicephaly.
Bicephaly.
And now, Jason, if I may share this, later on in this episode, we're going to be seeing the drive-in movie theater. So once we get there, I will share with you where I saw Bicephaly at a former drive-in movie theater.
I set you up because we talked before we started recording about you had this experience. So if you want to hold that, that's fine.
I want to hold it.
But we can tell the audience what it means if they don't already know. But it means 2 heads.
2 heads.
Those heads.
Yes. Well, because remember the last episode? 2 heads are better than one, right?
Would have been fitting in this episode too. Yeah. The great song from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure soundtrack. Yes. Yeah. So that's it. That's the name. We're jumping in. The rating for this episode, 8.3. Ooh. Pretty consistent. That's IMDb rating, pretty consistent. Everything's in that range. If I looked right now, it probably shifted, but not much. A lot of these are in the 8s. We're getting started. I'm assuming there'll be some 9s coming. It's always like the season ender is like the highest of the season. But I think this is a great episode. So much to cover, so many good moments. It's so fun to go back and revisit for notes, because when I watched it after, the 31st, the first and the second, it's a blur. Like, what was episode 4? Well, episode 4 felt like episode 3 or 6.
Sure.
So now it's like, oh yeah, that's what happened. So it really is nice to go through and spend really like an hour or two doing notes, because you're fact checking, and it's a lot of fun to do that deep dive into these episodes.
Yeah, when I was reviewing this episode for this last time, it was almost like watching it all over again. I mean,
exactly.
Every episode for the most part for our show, I'm watching for sure twice, most likely 3 times.
Yeah, you're going back later too.
Yeah.
And checking in with it and watching it. So,
and every episode is like watching it again for the first time. That's magic. That's all I can say. It's just magical.
Yeah. It's good filmmaking. Great show running. I mean, there's a reason we revisit movies. There's a reason we have a podcast called Let's Talk Movies, because we tend to go back and watch things again, learn little things, nuances. We're different people. Yes. The experience might be different. So it's a wonderful thing. And the synopsis for this episode is: Kreese brings Terry back to Cobra Kai, but his former partner isn't interested in repairing history. Johnny grows envious of Daniel mentoring Miguel.
Wow. Yeah, because we're still figuring Terry out a little bit, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Is he completely evil? Is he only partially evil? Does he have another benevolent agenda here? I mean, we don't really have him figured out at this very moment. I don't think so yet.
No, has he grown from the Karate Kid 3 experience? He's got Cheyenne in his life, or used to.
The mindfulness
app that keeps you balanced and focused. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe, but a lot happens in this episode. And sometimes I find myself, quite often, actually rooting for Silver.
Well, when it comes to Silver versus Kreese, or how about Silver versus Cheyenne? You have to choose a team. It's one of those lesser of two evils thing. You gotta pick a team any given time. So there you go.
Well, here we go into our scene by scene breakdown.
Nice.
We start at West Valley High School, and Kenny's class, keep in mind, he's in middle school.
Yes.
They're doing a tour, and the guide mentions karate incidences. There's lots of things have changed. There's lots of questions about the fights. Obviously that went viral.
Yes.
And all of that. And then Leah talks with Kenny, and Sal, she says the school's haunted. I've never heard this before. And Kenny's sixth sense response is equally troubling.
Yeah. We haven't heard anything about this haunted thing. Which, by the way, I like. I'm a Ghost fan.
Yeah, I knew you would like this.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, as a toy collector, there was a famous haunted Toys R Us. I think was either the one in Van Nuys or the one up in the Bay Area in San Jose. It was one of those two. But there was a Toys R Us that was haunted. Believe me, I'd love to think that West Valley High is haunted. But yeah, this is the first time that we're hearing of this.
Well, do you remember what Kenny said?
Yeah, he said, "What? I died 5 years ago."
What is he, Haley Joe Osment? Like what? What
is
a
weird response. It's kind of almost a weird little dialogue between these two.
Yeah, I see dead people. Like, what is he trying to tell us here? Is this Shyamalan direct this episode? I'm confused.
That's hilarious. But then she says, "Well, Ghost Boy, you got strawberry on your snake shirt."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's got the Cobra Kai shirt on. He's already sporting it. I like that you join a dojo and you immediately have swag. Like immediately. Which is kind of funny. I guess Kreese is in the promotion business as well. So then he goes in, because he's got this stuff on, strawberry on his Cobra Kai shirt there, goes in the bathroom. Again, he's just doing a tour, right? Just a little pop in. But then we see Bert and Nathaniel come in as well. And they're talking about Lexi DeMarco and how she's a JILF.
Oh.
So Sal, I am going to say this for the record, but all ILFs go back to another movie from 1999, because The Sixth Sense was from 1999.
Oh,
To American Pie. Actor John Cho coined the term MILF. Now, John Cho, he actually went on to be in Star Trek and so many other movies. He was He was MILF guy number 2 in that movie. And I just had to give credit where credit's due on that. But what happens besides that in the restroom? What takes place?
Yeah. Because Jilf is junior. I'd like to.
Yeah, exactly. She, Lexi is a junior, and that's the reference they're talking about.
Well, yeah, Bert and Nate see Kenny.
Yep.
And Nate says, what makes you think you can wear a shirt like that around here? And Kenny says, it's from my dojo. And Bert says, maybe they started a kindergarten class. And I like how Bert and Nate, they high five each other for a comment like that. Nate says, or a nursery. And this gets Kenny very upset.
He does. And then someone else enters the restroom.
Well, hang on. So Kenny has a flashback in his head. He starts going PTSD mode. He has a flashback to Kyler in the Cobra Kai
backing
dojo.
Down. Yeah. And then charging him and getting the shot in.
Yes.
But Hawk is there, of course. All I guess they're Miyagi Do Eagle Fangers now, not Cobra Kai's, but they're all in the restroom at the same time. Hawk steps in, stops him before he charges and punches them, right? Because he's going to lose that battle anyway. Now Kenny knows how to use speed and strength, but Hawk breaks it up and basically warns Kenny, you know what's coming to Cobra Kai. You might get out while you can. This is all news to Kenny. He's just joining in a gang so he can kind of deal with some stuff.
Yeah.
But he very says,
get out of Cobra Kai while you still can, because they're about to go down.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be pretty, Hawk says. And then I like how Nate shoulder checks Kenny.
Oh, yeah.
Way out.
These guys are growing, man.
And now wait a second, Jason. Here was my question after the scene is, okay, so Kenny's in the bathroom. Nate and Bert walk in. Then later Hawk walks in. Then Nate and Bert and Hawk walk out. Why did any of them go to the bathroom? Why were they there in the first place? They obviously didn't use the bathroom.
Just to chat about Lexi. And what was Hawk doing? It's weird. But they needed to put Kenny somewhere, isolate himself.
Okay. Yeah, he was ostracized from the rest of the clan. Nice restroom, by the way. Very clean, no graffiti. Nice. I like that restroom. There were no restrooms like that when I was in high school.
It's different in West Valley now, buddy.
Oh, yeah. That's a nice restroom.
So now we're at Miyagi Do, and Daniel and Miguel are doing katas, and Johnny's concerned, Sal.
Oh, no.
And so Eagle Fang training leads to what? Because he's over there working with his students, and they're doing kicks and punches, and they're doing less of the mindfulness that Daniel's doing. But what occurs now, which is pretty dang funny, in my opinion.
Well, Johnny gets distracted. He should be focused. He's holding what, focus mitts? Are those a form of focus mitts
and bags and various things?
Yeah. So he's there as a coach receiving kicks. He gets distracted by Daniel and Miguel.
Yep.
Gets distracted, turns his head. Dimitri kicks him in the face.
Good kick.
That was a good kick.
And this leads to turning him into a human punching bag, which we saw in the trailer, which is hilarious.
That was good. And everybody delivers. And I like these kicks, by the way. These are probably my two favorite kicks, front kick and side kick. So this one guy goes up, front kick, side kick. Sam goes up, front kick, side kick.
They're apologizing first too. Like, sorry about this. And
then Kreese comes up. Oh,
Kreese.
No.
Yeah. Was he also not focused, or can he not just throw a good kick? But he misses and catches Dimitri in the family jewels, as a Manscaped ad might say. And,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, let me just tell you, do not take this lightly. Getting kicked in the family jewels. UFC, I don't know about today, but Ultimate Fighting Championship used to allow unlimited timeout if you were kicked in the groin. Unlimited timeout to recover, compose yourself, and hopefully continue. I don't know if they've reduced that time, but that shows you how serious it is, and it was. And by the way, I'm assuming Dimitri was not wearing a cup.
And you bring that up, probably not, but I always wore a cup when sparring or fighting or when playing soccer, when I'm goalie. I played in a game recently, and I had a cup on, and I took a direct shot save in goal, and I still felt the pain. And the ref came in and stopped the game and gave me a moment just to catch my breath. Wow. And I had a cup on. If I didn't have a cup on, Sal, I'm out. I'm out of the game.
Well, Dimitri's maybe tougher than we give him credit for then.
Yeah. So then as we wind down and we see Dimitri go around the front of Miyagi Do after the day, and he's still limping, needs some ice. And Johnny offers to make Miguel his favorite meal, which is spicy manwich with side of steak fries. Sounds pretty good.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. Oh, and watch some Iron Eagle.
Yes, of course. But he is busy with Daniel fixing his mother, Carmen's car.
Yeah. a little sad moment for Johnny, because just before getting in the car, Miguel says sensei, but Miguel was talking to Daniel, not talking to Johnny,
the second head,
of the Bicephaly.
Exactly. So now we're at Cobra Kai, and Kyler got some drive-in tickets, Sal, and not just drive-in tickets to any old movie. Bloodsport, 1988. Nice. I love this movie. I rented it on VHS back in 88, 89. And hilarious.
Jason,
Robbie. Oh, please go. Please.
Jason, am I mistaken, or didn't you and I discuss on a previous episode of Let's Talk Cobra Kai who we would like to see in season 4?
And you said Jean-Claude Van Damme.
There we go, my friend.
Yeah. Didn't you also say Steven Seagal?
No, I think you said Steven Seagal.
I said.
Who said Steven Seagal? It wasn't me or you.
No, it was one of the.
You said Keanu Reeves.
I said Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
But then
wait a second. Hang on a second. Jason Kersey. Was it Jason Kersey?
No, it was another fan, I believe. It could have been Kersey, but another fan also wrote us and said that. But
okay.
Perhaps it was Kersey. I'd have to check. But Robbie is very familiar with the movie, also on VHS. So Johnny and I have that in common. I was all about renting that on VHS.
Nice.
And then Kenny arrives. And Sal, what does he share?
Well, he shares the incident involving, they don't know it's Hawk yet until he says the kid with the spiky red hair told me I should quit Cobra Kai.
And Tori says, we still owe that Judas some payback.
Tori getting biblical.
She went biblical. When I heard that the second time, I was like, oh, I forgot that line. Wow.
Nice. She's going New Testament.
It's great. But now this leads to our enemies are working together. So this leads to a great little speech. We'll go back and forth here.
Yep.
I'll be all, but you be John Kreese as he comes in the room. Sorry, I had to find my notes. They got lost on the page there.
Yeah.
So he addresses the crowd. And I think everything John says this season, John being Mr. Kreese, is worthy of repeating. We can't do it all, but anytime he says some good nuggets, it's fun to work them in an episode.
You know what? Just because they're evil doesn't mean they don't drop some knowledge. You know, I mean, it's the old a broken clock is right twice a day type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Believe me, this fantastic stuff that he says, because he says, as you know, our enemies are working together. They are combining their styles to beat us, but they are destined to fail because there is only one way. And what is that way?
The way of the fist, sir. Now, the way of the fist, sir. Sal, this is news to me. We're learning new stuff about Cobra Kai every episode. We just learned that you need to have a killer instinct to be in Cobra Kai. And now they're following the way of the fist. This was never in any of the Karate Kid, Sal. I like this new, this new method, or they're finally sharing it with us.
But is that what they mean by canon? This is not canon, right? We've never heard a refrain like this before.
No, we're growing the folklore, the history. You know, like even in last season, we're learning more about Miyagi-Do than we ever did. Well, now it's time to do the same with Cobra Kai, which is really cool. So please continue. Kreese goes on from there.
However, that doesn't mean that we can't double down. Class, meet Sensei Terry Silver, co-founder of Cobra Kai and one of the most ferocious fighters in the history of the sport.
Whoa.
Together, we built Cobra Kai from the ground up, and now he is here to help you prepare for the All Valley.
Wow.
Well, the knowledge isn't here. It's in another monologue, but
we're learning he's a co-founder. He's not just another sensei. Oh, wow. Cobra Kai goes further back. So there is still some stuff for them anyway. For them.
No. It's what's called edification. You edify this person so that your disciples or mentees follow this person.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like when Terry and Kreese bow to each other. I don't think we've seen that before.
No, I love it.
And then Kreese says, with two senseis, you will receive twice the instruction. That means twice the work. If you are not prepared to put in 200%, you can leave right now. I like that. Hey, no harm, no foul. See ya. I'm out here. But nobody takes the bait, and they stood their ground.
And Sal, Cobra Kai has two heads.
Oh, hello. The Bicephaly refers to Terry and John Kreese. And I kept thinking Daniel and Johnny, or both.
Let's go with both.
So each clique has two heads now. Oh, wow. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So now we're in Johnny's bed and he's with Carmen and Sal, no fireworks.
Well, I like how Carmen just says, maybe you're just tired. And you know what's funny is they open the scene with that first line. I would say most guys would, as soon as she says, maybe you're just tired, we know exactly what she's talking about.
We know.
And then Johnny says, I swear this has never happened to me. And by the way, Jason, I was thinking, if that happens with someone, maybe that's not a good thing to say. Hey, I've been full staff for everybody else, but for you, not so much.
Yeah, occasionally this happens.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Every now and again this happens, and this is one of those times.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's concerned. He know what's on his mind. He's got the whole Miyagi, sorry, scratch that, Daniel Miguel thing going on, that relationship. Not to mention, he's also concerned about Miguel and sharing the fact that he's with Carmen. So there's a lot of things at play here. And it's kind of a touching scene as it unfolds. However, I absolutely love this Top Gun dialogue here. I was like, hold on, what? Of course, the classic Tom Cruise, Tony Scott film came out in 1988. But I knew in an instant when they started talking about Top Gun, I knew he would take the way of the Iceman. I knew it, Val Kilmer. And of course he does. He's like, Cruise is the worst. Iceman, abs for days. Who calls himself a maverick anyway?
Yeah.
He couldn't even get into Miramar, which is like the, Top Gun school. And plus he got his wingman killed. He just slams him so funny, right on point. And of course, that's his view of Top Gun. That's Johnny.
I like that. You can't call yourself a maverick.
Yeah, that's so great.
I like that a lot.
Well, that was just his nickname. I mean, there was Merlin, there was Sundown, there was all the Iceman, but whatever. He's picking on him and it's funny.
No, but you know what, Jason? I'm going to commit to you as my friend and co-host and our listeners to watch Top Gun. I have not seen Top Gun.
Well, the new one's coming out. Maverick is coming out.
What? A new one?
Yeah, it comes out this year.
Was it a sequel or a reboot? What is it?
Sequel. Tom Cruise.
Okay, I'm going to get caught up.
You've never seen Top Gun?
I've never seen Top Gun.
Stop this podcast.
Well,
sorry, folks.
At first glance, I'm like, what are they, like pilots or,
Pilots, but it's well worth your time.
Okay.
Sal.
Okay. I'll watch it.
Tell you.
I will watch it.
But then Carmen shares what, Sal?
Well, okay. Let me just interject here, Jason. I don't see why Carmen is putting this all on Johnny about when to tell Miguel about them dating. I mean, what about her? She's Miguel's mother. She has every right to tell Miguel, or possibly more responsibility to tell Miguel than even Johnny, who is a sensei.
Very good point.
I feel like she's like loading that responsibility on Johnny. I don't think that that's right. So sorry, Carmen. I love you, but come on, take some of take some of that load on you. Why don't you? So, but she gives Johnny the responsibility or authority to tell Miguel when he's ready.
Yeah.
When Johnny's ready to tell Miguel.
Yeah, and that's nice. Now, you make a great point. But if it's good, maybe off camera, he's told her that I've got to do it. I'm the man. I have to do it. And he'll respect me if I do. So we don't know what was said then. But that's a nice way that Carmen puts it. When you're ready.
Yeah.
And so Johnny's, he's got more to mull over. So probably still not the right time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, so it's now all up to Johnny to tell Miguel about their relationship on Johnny's time. Sorry,
I meant not the right time for fireworks. So,
well,
he's still thinking.
Okay. Well, hang on. Since we're going back there, Carmen says, I have access to pills or medications, right?
Yeah.
Why should she have any more access than you or I in a prescription? What is she implying here? That she can just like 5-figure discount it? Was she implying that?
No, I think she was like, she could put an order in above board and get him because she knows that Johnny would never do it. Right. That's
okay. In other words, I could get these because you're probably not going to go get them. Exactly. Okay, that's nice. She's making an offer then, not necessarily like she's gonna sneak the little blue pill, under her nurse's outfit. No. Oh, I'm sorry, lab tech.
Yeah,
I believe she's an X-ray tech or lab tech.
Yeah, lab tech.
One of them. Yeah, maybe X-ray tech.
Now we're at LaRusso Auto, and Daniel and Miguel fix Carmen's car. Right, so they've been working on it, chipping away, and success. Right, but then Sal, Miguel mentions an uncomfortable topic, mom dating.
Yes.
Because Daniel knows what Johnny and Miguel are doing, but he's not about to say anything, right? And so he's taking this information in and listening and he shares the fact that, hey, it was uncomfortable for me. My mom, one time she kept it a secret and she went on a date with Mr. Harris.
Wow.
So I had to go back to the Karate Kid to make sure they had this right. And I trust the showrunners. I do. I may not trust them on dates and days matching up. I mean, that's well documented on Let's Talk Cobra Kai.
Yes, indeed.
So I looked it up, and sure enough, Mr. Harris was indeed the history teacher. It's that great scene in the courtyard.
Yes.
The Cobra Kais are coming for him. And he's like, hey, Mr. Harris, I'd love to talk to you about, what you talked about there, the Indian and the horse. And so, and they're like, oh, I'm free this period. So then they all drift away. And he's like, that's okay. And the Plains Indians and that is Mr. Harris, played by Bernie Kubi, rest in peace. Wow. He was his third period history teacher. Daniel, that was Daniel's teacher. And all this whole scene, though, I've been to this school. It's Charles Evans Junior High School. It's at 5597 Capistrano Avenue, Woodland Hills, California, 91367. I used to walk it with Nico a lot. Once I discovered it, I've been 5-6 times. And that courtyard, you can see it through the fence because it's all locked up. But it's one of those schools that you get it in California when you come, everything's outside. Right. When I went to school, I was in the Midwest or in Oklahoma in the South, you're inside buildings. This is like, you come out the exterior, you're in a courtyard, you go to your next class. I mean, you're a California kid.
But wait, I want to make sure we're talking about the same school. Is that the one that you can see when you're driving down Topanga?
No, it's not on Topanga. You got to
cut off Topanga.
You got to cut into Capistrano. No, that's Taft. That's Taft Charter School. I believe that you're talking about, but whatever.
I'm getting but hang on.
You're definitely in the Karate Kid. It's also in the movie Summer School.
Oh, nice.
And there was some other movies too. So, but that courtyard's right there. And I remember walking up, looking through it and like, oh my gosh, that's that great scene where Mr. Harrison has that great interaction. I mean, even before that, Allie and Daniel are walking and talking.
Yes.
And then she scurries around and then, and she leaves. And then here comes the Cobra Kais. The rest is history.
So I love that we.
No pun intended.
Hey. I love that we now learn that Lucille, at least went on one date with,
and probably more because she was like, having lunch with a friend is what she called it, right? So
that's amazing.
Yeah, but one of them was,
No, you know what? I can relate because it's one thing you have to witness is when you grow up with a single parent, male or female. It doesn't matter if it's your mom or your dad. Probably you're gonna probably see them dating people. Yep. And I think my mother briefly dated one of our school teachers.
Oh my gosh.
For a brief period of time. I don't know how far it went, how long it lasted, but I do know there was a brief period of time where I believe, Mr. Mellon, I believe was his name.
Wow.
Sorry, Mr. Mellon, if you're listening.
It's crazy.
And by the way, Daniel and Miguel fixed this car, which was a serpentine belt.
That's right. You got that right.
Okay. That's a pretty big job. I'm pretty certain that's pretty major.
When they weren't there, the mechanics actually came over. Hey, Miguel, move that. Put that spark plug in.
It'd be like a photo op moment. Have Miguel tightening the wrench. Photo op.
Well, they fire up the car. It works, and then he has Miguel drive because they're gonna go check. Go to this little party, catch up with Amanda and Sam. Sal. Miguel, does he even have a learner's permit? Because he does not know how to drive. He admits that to Daniel. And when I learned how to drive, I was 14, but we had moved out of the city for a few years and my mother taught me how to drive on a stick shift standard, but I was in the middle of nowhere for a couple of years and I learned it. And then I couldn't imagine like in the city, let's just practice this. He's on Ventura Boulevard.
Yeah. That's an interesting place to learn how to drive. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I will tell you this, that I was driving probably at the age of 12 because my mother's boyfriend had me drive his car. Yeah, there we go. Back to my mother dating again, having these dating moments. What happened was she had a boyfriend who said his license was suspended. So he asked me to drive him to the store. And I would say, well, why would you have me without a license drive you to the store? You just drive yourself. And he said, the police will be nicer to a kid without a license than they will be to an adult with a suspended license.
Oh my God.
And so I would drive him all over the
car running. I'm going to run to this liquor store real quick.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm driving the getaway car. But let me tell you something, driving around my neighborhood there, I was king of the neighborhood for a while, driving at 12.
Beat me by 2 years. So now
wait a second. Hang on a second then. Why were you driving at 14?
14, well, we're in the middle of, like, we kind of moved outside the city, like 45 minutes outside the city. And it was, rural enough to kind of drive around. And my mom taught me. And then it's like, if I had to go to a friend's house to run an errand, I got to borrow the car. 14,
really?
15, 16,
wow.
pre-license.
Okay, hang on. So you would drive alone at 14?
Yeah, then I'd go back to the city, and it's like I had to kind of, really learn how to parallel park and drive in traffic. And that was like next level. When you're in the middle of nowhere, it's like, just avoid that bus, just a school bus, just avoid that. So
I don't know. You know what? I got to hand it back to you, Jason. I think that driving at 14 alone is cooler than driving 12 with your mother's boyfriend next to you.
Nailed it.
I'll give you that.
So now we're at some kid parties location, whatever you want to call this place, but it's where kiddies have their birthday parties.
Like a Chuck E. Cheese type place, right?
But less arcade games and no animatronic band. But Amanda and Sam are there, and they're there to support, I guess, Sheila. She worked with them for years. Maybe she was a maid. Maybe she was, I'm not sure. But her daughter, Cindy, is having her birthday party. And Sam is upset, Sal.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be there. This is not like a place where a teenage girl wants to hang out, some kid's party.
Yeah. But then Amanda says, a lot of people have it worse than you.
Yeah.
Wow. Where did we hear that before, Sal? Just so familiar.
What?
One John Kreese at the grocery store dropped some knowledge like that on her.
He put that in Amanda's ear.
He sure did.
Oh,
well, something very similar to that,
Wow.
Not all kids are as lucky as yours, and that's what he's working on Amanda. Oh,
he's
Kreese.
Good, man. He is good.
So Sal, then we're backstage, and I swear, I know this is a kiddo show, but this felt to me like we were at some skanky strip club.
Absolutely. And you're seeing the back of these, young, attractive women. One of them, doing her like her bustier or whatever it is. And you're thinking, and then you see Tori, and you're thinking, oh my God, right? Tori is
happening? She needs money. She's lost her job.
And then that guy comes in.
Yeah,
what does he say?
He fits the part so good,
You're thinking this guy's
sleazy, strip club manager, owner, and he's telling her about her makeup, and he's got her name wrong.
Yep.
And but they come out and they're kid performers.
Yes.
I'm like sigh of relief.
For sure, a sigh of relief, but at the same time, man, the way that they flipped the script on us again, because anybody would have thought that watching that scene.
And we were meant to think that. So it was well played. It's a great reveal, but one person's happy about it.
Oh, Sam is big time excited to see her arch rival playing some sort of princess character in front of kids at some, what would probably be considered by, again, teenage girl standards, some lame, stupid kiddie party.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sam is loving life.
Yeah, Sam's she wants to go. She can't stand to be there. Wait a second, Mom. This isn't so bad.
This is great.
So now we're at Cobra Kai, and Robbie is training Kenny. And Kenny's getting kind of confident, like, young bucks get.
A little cocky, right?
I know all the moves. And so Robbie's like, okay, you know all the moves. Leg sweep. Takes him down immediately. And Sal, there's a lot of leg sweep this season. I got to say, lots and lots of leg sweeps thus far.
We're going to see another attempt at that again, but Robbie then starts to explain balance, a Miyagi-Do, Miyagi-Do verbiage here, talking about balance.
Yep.
Terry Silver walks in, hears that, and you could tell that Robbie's a little self-conscious now about sharing Miyagi-Do knowledge and wisdom there in the Cobra Kai Dojo.
Yeah, he's kind of caught going, well, it's just kind of the lesson. I'm just trying to. And Silver's like, no, it's fine. Balance is crucial. A man can't stand. He can't fight.
Oh, my God.
Sal, that's rule number 1 of the Quicksilver method.
Wow. Yep. I can't believe I'm seeing this. Here we are seeing this present day.
And then Silver goes on to say, what, Sal?
He says this to Robbie. He politely tells Kenny to get lost. Senseikreese told me all about you. Trained in Miyagi-Do, now Cobra Kai. You'll have enough skills to kick all our asses.
Now this leads to a sparring match, Sal, which Silver wants no mercy. Come on.
Yeah. He challenges Robbie to show him his skills. And this is when the first thing you notice that Robbie attempted was another leg sweep. Did not work on Terry Silver.
No.
Well, because you remember when it comes to the leg sweep, he tried to initially teach that to Daniel in Karate Kid 3, right? Oh, those guys don't know how to defend against the sweeps in those tournaments, right?
Yep.
So here he is now. You cannot use the sweep on Terry Silver.
Don't try a crane on Terry Silver. Don't try a leg sweep on Terry Silver. You better bring your A game.
Yeah. Well, basically, as badass as Robbie is, Silver quickly dispatches him. Yeah. It's over pretty quickly. And Terry Silver says to Robbie, "You've learned to channel your anger, but you're afraid." And then Robbie says, "I'm not afraid of anything." And Terry says, "You lying to me or yourself? If you want to be a champion, you need to dig out that fear and face it, whatever it is. Because if you don't, it's going to hold you back forever." That's the wisdom I was talking about right there. This time coming out of Terry Silver. I repeated that line again to myself. Yeah. You gotta, whatever is, if there's something there inside you, it's going to be there later. You better deal with it now.
And again, there's a lot of this wisdom happening this season. Johnny drops some on Sam and they take it in. And Robbie is moved by that. Like, I don't know this guy, but he just took me out, no problem. And he's got some wisdom. That was a good moment. Really, really liked it. And again, I'm thinking, do I trust Silver? Because he's dropping some good stuff. He's super successful. He's a great fighter. And maybe he's learned from the Karate Kid 3. But I'm like you with Kreese. I'm a sucker for Silver still.
and just think how amazing this is as fans to see Terry Silver as sensei to Johnny Lawrence's son. Unreal. This is crazy.
Yeah, the lineage. It's just too much to even fathom. It's too much. I mean, imagine, what Silver was even learning this from Kreese. Like, wait, you've got his son, your old champ's son. Yeah, his mind's got to be blown with all these connections. So now we're at Johnny's apartment and he is on Facebook revisiting photos and videos of him and Miguel. And Sal, right away, I noticed a couple things. Okay. Yeah. Again, no comments on Facebook. This show does not do comments on Facebook. Like, no one does a comment on a photo, maybe some likes, maybe not. But also you notice the URL for his Facebook page, Johnny's Facebook page, is just facebook.com. And you and I both know that it would also have yes, / and then your unique page. But that's not happening. Johnny's the one and only person with his profile is on facebook.com. Small thing.
Just to be clear, that is Johnny's Facebook page, not Miguel's.
Either way, it just said facebook.com and there were still no comments. So he could be on his. Or vice versa. Maybe it's on Johnny's. Thinking, no one knows it. No one's doing it. Okay, I get.
That's what I was saying.
I'll give you that.
The only person I think that would be commenting on Johnny's Facebook would be Allie, who's his friend.
Yeah.
And if it's not Allie, then
maybe Miguel.
Okay, so Miguel may have a face. I don't know. Does Miguel have a Facebook? Do we know that?
Of course he does.
Okay, I would think he'd be on TikTok or Insta.
Well, not important. This leads to Johnny doing an online search. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Please tell us what he writes.
Well, Johnny is asking the interweb for help.
Yes.
And he punches into a search engine. I don't know if it's Google, whatever. He punches into the search.
It was generic search engine.
Generic search engine. How do I tell my student I'm banging his mom? ? Well, you press search on that phrase.
Hello.
And all kinds of hottest in town.
Yeah, he's like, wait, this is not what I'm looking for. Johnny in season 1 might have done a deep dive into this. He's in a different place now. He's got Carmen in his life. He's kind of a father figure, so he shuts it down.
He doesn't indulge. He does not. Whereas before he was looking for hot babes, right?
Yeah, totally different job.
He does not indulge in this, but he still continues to drink his Coors Banquet.
He does do that. And then, because we stay with Johnny, we're not leaving his apartment. He starts to have a flashback of young Johnny. And we've seen young Johnny here and there, different ages Johnny. Johnny's
not this
a
age
teenager.
though, right?
No, this is much younger Johnny.
Yeah,
probably
this is youngest
6, 7, 8 years old Johnny.
Youngest Johnny so far.
And he's got these, the old school, big, giant G.I. Joe figures, and he's 12 inches. Them. Mm-hmm. And he's got some hot rod PJs on. Yes. In the background, you can see Jonathan Livingston Seagull album.
Wow.
And what do we learn, Sal? But before that, I have a quick question for you. How much are those G.I. Joes worth right now?
Those are the original G.I. Joe 12-inch figures.
They got the real scruff on.
They have the real scruff. They have, I don't know if it's called flocked, but it's the real hair. It's the real beard. When it comes to those old school collectibles, it's all about the condition. It's all about in box or out of box. But I would imagine original GI Joes in excellent condition would probably fetch you at least a few hundred at the very least.
Yeah, they look great.
Now, yours and my generation, we probably had the 3 3/4 inch GI Joes,
but they could do a lot more things. They could do more than my Star Wars figures. They could bend at the elbow, bend at the knee.
Absolutely, more points of articulation. But yeah, there's nothing like those.
Some could do this too. They could do the Dutch.
Yeah, the neck crank.
Yep. Some can do that.
That's also like Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah.
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. So we learn what, Sal? Beyond the figures and beyond the outfits and the retro cool theme place, what do we learn as his mother comes home?
What a way to break this news to your son.
Right?
That she's getting engaged. She shows the ring to a young Johnny, a beautiful ring. She says she's getting engaged to Sid, to which young Johnny says, the fat, bald guy?
Yep.
He was fat and bald then. Forget about later.
Peace, Ed Asner.
Rest in peace, Ed Asner. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, well, that's when we learned that Johnny's dad has left them.
Yeah, not dead, not passed away.
Yes,
like Daniel's father, but left him.
Yeah, and this is, I think, the first time we actually learned that officially, right? What happened to Johnny's dad?
Yeah, I've always been curious. So if it was said in the past, then it escapes me, because they definitely illuminated it here. And I thought, wow, there's still this chance that there could be a story. If he's not alive, then, maybe we complete that somehow, some way.
Okay, there you go. So that got me thinking then. They didn't say your dad's dead, Johnny. Nope. We learned his dad left. So it's entirely possible we could one day see an appearance.
That's what I mean. Or if he is passed, at least this was who he was. This is what he did. But it'd be great if he is alive and that becomes something in this or other seasons. Not sure. But we also learned his father drank what?
Coors Banquet. There's this box under young Johnny's bed that he keeps his dad's souvenirs, paraphernalia left behind. Coors Banquet, a boot was like a boot in there.
Yeah, and I tried to make it bigger and look what else is in there, but I was on a computer screen, so I couldn't tell this viewing. But there's a lot of things in there.
There was like an old camera.
Yeah, there was a lot of little things in there, but nothing like nothing like the Coors Banquet. Can. But his mother is like, you kept this, what the heck's going on? And that's his father. He's keeping these mementos. That's who he knew and loved, and he's gone. Now I also noticed when his mother came in the room, Sal, as we panned across to Johnny on the ground, on the wall there was like this clown game.
What?
And it was hung on the wall like a painting, but it had like 3 holes, like 5 point, 10 point, 15 point, but it was definitely a clown. And it really reminded me when he being William Zabka, was on How I Met Your Mother. And he was in that great episode with Daniel, and he was the clown, and he revealed himself at the end because on that show, he popped up on that show. I mean, listen, it was intentional. That clown was there on the wall and really reminded me of that. So, I'm sure the show, and by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier, just to go all the way back to my last point with John Cho being American Pie.
Yeah.
Well, John Cho was also in Harold and Kumar, Go to White Castle, directed by the showrunners of Cobra Kai.
There we go.
So there's no, them
circle.
working in the ILF definitely came from their mind. I don't know who wrote it, but I meant to throw that in earlier.
Dude.
So back it up now.
I didn't know we were going to go this meta today.
It wouldn't shock me that clown was like, Zabka was the clown. Let's put that right there. I got to decorate a room for a kid. You make decisions. It's like, that makes sense. So
no, that's true. And it's also what I've always thought whenever I watch movies, everything's intentional. Everything you see in a scene is deliberate and intentional. Oftentimes reasons either known or unknown. Mm-hmm. It could be something with a storyline, as you're talking about, or something about, something with a storyline existing, or metaverses. Yeah, tips of the hat.
It meant something to somebody, and I'm just making a connection there. That's a looser connection than the MILF, JILF, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to point it out. And this is an interesting scene because we kind of come back to Johnny now. He's taking this in, he's having this memory, and listen, Sal, history repeating itself. Like this, he was the same father to Robbie as he had. And he's trying to break the cycle with Miguel. And again, as this season goes on, and now that you've seen it all, but we're not going to go ahead of this. We stop at this episode we're in. But a lot of this is going on. There's so much of this father figure, history repeating itself. I mean, Daniel didn't have a father either, but for very different reasons. We're about to talk about more of that in an upcoming scene. But it was a lot to take in. That's why I really loved this episode, because it had these moments.
Well, that was a painful memory for Johnny, because he crushes his beer can and just throws it on the ground. So he's, this is a very painful memory for Johnny. And then, relating it to present day.
Yeah. Well, I think he wants to stop it. I think he sometimes sees like, oh my gosh, what am I afraid of? That's part of it. He was afraid he'd mess up with Robbie. He admits that to Robbie in earlier seasons, right? Well, here's his chance to tell Miguel that him and Carmen might have a go at it. They may have a relationship, and it's probably scary for him to do that dance, to care for someone and be that responsible. But I love it, man. Go Johnny.
Wow. Well, Johnny evolves. We do get to see the evolution of Johnny.
So now I got to say, I love this next shot because it's the Encino Commons. And Sal, I have driven it so many times. It's like covers the street, Encino Commons, stores, restaurants, shops on both sides of the street.
Movie theater, Lemon movie theater.
Love it. I love this area. And Miguel drives Daniel, right? Just cruising right along.
Yeah, they would be going eastbound on Ventura Boulevard.
And earlier I meant Taft High School is on Ventura Boulevard, not Topanga. So I don't know what school you're talking about.
Well, no. You said Taft Charter. I was wondering if there was a different Taft. Maybe there's two Tafts.
Well, Taft used to be a non-charter. Taft used to be a high school.
On Ventura Boulevard.
It's come up in some of our shows in the past on That's a Crime, as well as on, because I believe Dana Plato went there and other actors went there, but now it's a charter school.
But I mean, it was Taft became Taft Charter. I thought maybe Taft Charter was another school.
Oh, no, sorry. No, that's one and the same. It's this huge school.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So anyways, they drive, as you said, was it eastbound? Is that what you said?
Eastbound on Ventura Boulevard in Encino, yes.
So I also noticed as they drive down, because I love movie locations, they pass what was used in, I love this movie, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Remember they worked at like that Circuit City Best Buy type place called Smart Tech. Well, that was right there.
That was right there?
They shot it there. It was at 17401 Ventura Boulevard, Encino, California, 91316. Because I remember seeing that movie and trying to find out where that was and pinned it. So they like literally just passed right by. And while that's going on, we hear a classic song playing on the radio. Why don't you take it away, Sal?
Yeah, well, we hear Daniel singing along to the classic song on the radio. That is Sailing by Christopher Cross.
I thought you were going to give me a rendition there.
Oh, sailing, take me away. I think Daniel sings that song better, actually.
But I just point, I put you on the spot there, buddy.
But that is a classic song. Yeah. And Christopher Cross was huge in the 80s. Absolutely true. What Daniel says is absolutely true. He was big. And then he references some other people.
Oh my gosh. Sal, this is like our new show for us. Let's talk soft rock. He rattles off Michael McDonald, Billy Joel, Chicago, and of course, Miguel is clueless because he has not come from this. He's not been taught this. Right.
Well, what's funny about the youth of today does not have the connection with the past that we did when we were his age.
I love my parents' music.
Yeah, I don't think kids today are into their parents' music.
Like Miguel is. Miguel's got, he's been trained by Johnny on a much edgier, harder, heavy metal 80s. And
hang on, what does Carmen listen to? That's what I would
probably something that's not either one of these, but she does love Top Gun. She did love that. So she's into pop culture.
So she may like Kenny Loggins then.
Oh, yeah, totally. Kenny Loggins. But while this is going on, a yellow light, I almost said red light, a yellow light appears, Sal. And what does Miguel do?
Jason, don't get me started on yellow lights, because I've actually spoken to law enforcement about this very topic, because you see, I take yellow lights. I believe in taking yellow lights.
You're supposed to go through it. Not a late yellow, not a bleeding into red, but that's the whole point, is to like get through. It's safer than stopping, putting on your brakes.
So here's the thing though.
But people
are stopping at yellow lights today. They're stopping at yellow lights. And also, if you decide to take a yellow light, the person opposite direction will decide to take a left right in front of you, because the light may turn green while you're in the middle of the intersection. But as long as you are past that crosswalk, at least California, it may differ state to state. Yeah. At least if you're past the crosswalk into the intersection, you are allowed to take a yellow light. But here's what though, I don't do it anymore. because people don't let you do it and it can become dangerous. So unfortunately,
I'm super cautious in that situation. Let me just be clear. But in this moment, in this right here, he crosses that line. He doesn't just like, oh, I'm in the, no, what's he do?
Okay. Let me defer back to Starman. What do you do when it comes to
Carpenter's Starman?
I didn't know that was John Carpenter.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay. Red light, stop, green light, go, yellow light, go very fast.
Okay. Not in this car.
No.
What does Miguel do?
Well, Miguel, wait, you mean eventually he stops?
No.
After they're bonding,
he takes through.
He takes the yellow light.
But you hear it rev like Johnny would do. He's going 40. He all of a sudden he's going 45, 50.
Yeah,
and Daniel's
they're in the Corolla, I believe.
He's
I think it's Corolla.
Whoa, what was that move? When you get to yellow, you don't increase, like depending on your positioning. So there's a teachable moment for Daniel because he wants him to be super safe with Samantha in the car.
Okay, so I just want to make my point clear, Jason, is that I used to take yellow lights, but today I do not. No, hang on. Today I don't because it's not as safe today.
Okay.
So I will agree with Daniel. Absolutely agree. Miguel, slow down. Don't try to take the yellow light. I'll go for it.
Okay. And he goes on to talk about not having a father, but how Mr. Miyagi filled that father role. We all know it, but it's nice to hear Daniel reflect on it.
Also nice bonding between Miguel and Daniel.
They're connecting. I mean, Miguel has gone from not having any mentors, any father figures to having two great ones.
Wow.
Very fortunate. More fortunate than even some kids who have an absentee father. So, who's in the home, but is still absent.
I've seen it.
It's wonderful. And then Miguel shares about his father, and he learned he's in Mexico. Now, he didn't give us a name, but he's definitely tracked him, and he's alive because here's another scenario. Johnny's father left. He wasn't that great for Robbie, wasn't present for Robbie. Miguel's father, Daniel's is gone early. Of the four people in this show, none of them had a stable father. I mean, the best example we had was Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. Yeah. And so I also love the fact what he shares about mothers, how they're seeking better lives for them. It's really true, really wonderful. Lucille, Carmen, and so many others faced with the same situation.
Yeah, I understand. And I can absolutely relate.
Exactly. You can. Yeah. You've talked about it on this show. So absolutely. Very touching scene. This episode has that, man. I really loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like seeing people connecting. And that's what makes it more painful than when there becomes that sever for whatever reason. Yeah, exactly. It becomes more painful to see that because you saw the connection being established ahead of time. Yeah, this is wonderful moments with Daniel and Miguel here.
So now we're back at the kids' party. We're kind of ping-ponging around a little bit. And Tori's telling the kids a story because she's at work. She's doing her thing. And Sal, I would ask you if you would call Sam a heckler in this situation. For being a comic, is she being a heckler in this scene?
Well, for one thing, she's the only teen. She's the only non-child.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a bunch of like little girls. And then Sam is there absolutely heckling the performer because Tori mentions a prince and then Sam chimes in. Is that the prince you stole from the other princess? So she's making it personal. Obviously, these little kids are oblivious.
Yeah,
but she's
over their head.
Yeah, totally heckling Tori as she tries to stay in character as the party princess.
And of course, it's like tit for tat with these two. If she walks away, Sam walks away because she's got the upper hand. Because I think Tori starts to sing, and then she makes
Jason,
fun of her sing. Oh, go on.
That's where I was prepared to sing. Right here.
Oh, please. Continue.
Okay, so Tori sings, and we've never, I think, seen Tori sing.
No.
So she sings this song, and I don't know if we're led to believe she made this up on the spot, or is this an actual song? I don't know.
It's a real song.
Is it?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So Tori sings, "Beautiful dragon, please go to sleep. Sunset has fallen. Now time to count sheep." Right? Was that it? Hang on. Let me do that last line one more time. "Sunset has fallen. Now time to count sheep." I'm thinking she made that up on the spot is what I'm thinking. But hang on. That's not the point. The point is Sam. Holy cow. Sam says, "I thought you were bad at fighting." Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Sam. What are you doing?
heckling. And so Sam walks away because she scores a point, right? And then Tori rallies the kids and says, you got to go put this glitter bomb on the evil witch to, do this thing. So there's all this glitter, and then all the little kids go over and they boom, hit Sam with it. So it's like payback.
Glitter bomb Sam.
Oh, it's really great.
Yep.
Point 1-1.
Yep.
Nichols LaRusso. So now we're back at Johnny's apartment, and it's manwich time, Sal.
Oh, and let me just bring up the old commercial. A sandwich is just a sandwich, but a manwich is a meal.
Well done. Good memory on that.
And by the way, Jason, I want to give props and shout out to Johnny Lawrence for using a wooden spoon in a Teflon pan. Hello. People use metal spoons in a Teflon pan. Do not do it. Wood to prevent scratching.
So then there's a knock on the door, like there always is at Johnny's apartment.
Yeah.
But Sal, I had no idea it would be this person knocking on the door. I can usually nail it, like, it's Daniel, it's this person, but I didn't see this one coming. Did you?
Well, no, I think I assumed it would be Miguel or maybe Carmen. Right?
Exactly. But
who else would it be? It's Robbie. Robbie arriving at his father's apartment doorstep. And he says, Hawk and some of your students have been bullying this kid in school. Tell them to stop or there'll be payback.
Yeah, he's warning him. And then so Johnny's like, hey, listen, Cobra Kai, you got to be careful. There's a lot of brainwashing, and then Robbie goes on to have some great dialogue here. Why don't you chime in for us? Take it away.
Yeah, this was tough to hear because
very tough.
There's a lot of pain behind this because this is where Robbie says, that's the difference between you and me. Mm-hmm. You put all your trust in Kreese. I don't trust anyone anymore. Oh, that was painful to listen to.
Yeah, that was.
Then he says, now this I found interesting. He says, I'm just using Cobra Kai to get what I want. And I had to pause and think, well, what does Robbie want?
Yeah, I don't think Robbie knows what he wants.
Okay. So he thinks he's using Cobra Kai for something to an agenda. Nobody knows.
We don't know.
And then he goes on. Oh, and this was painful.
Yeah,
more pain. More pain.
It just gets harder. I know.
He says straight to his dad's face, I know what's been holding me back. For as long as I can remember, I've been afraid that I would end up like you. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to have that fear again because I'm better than you. Oh, and Johnny receives that. You could just see that arrow go right into his heart. You could just see it.
He was just having this flashback about his father, and what Johnny has probably done wrong in his life. Yeah, it's a tough one, but he handled it. He didn't battle him. And he's like, well, if that's all you got, I'm going to get back to making my meal. You can't convince Robbie of anything right now. He's got to figure some things out on his own.
I think you reach a point in relationships. I guess every relationship is different, but you reach a point where, like, I'm not going to lash back anymore. No. Yeah, I'm just not going to do it anymore. So I think he's finally there. Like, because he could have, hit back. He could have. I'm
your
back.
father. I'm here.
Yeah, he
now.
could have done anything.
Let's work through these things. But he's dejected.
Wow.
And right now is not the time.
There you go.
So now we're back at the kids' party. And Daniel and Miguel arrive. And Sal, I love that Daniel's talking about, hey, we'll do this, and then we'll bounce over to the DMV and get your license after some cake. Like, hold on, wait, did he have his learner's permit? He's just driven this one day and he's ready to go freaking, go get his license. Because has he studied the written test? They're just making light of it. It's not that easy when you're that age. Watch License to Drive. It's not that easy.
Well, hang on though. Don't forget that Daniel owns LaRusso Auto Group.
Oh, so he's got a special pass.
He might have an in at the DMV.
We're talking about the same guy that gets a passport the day that he's flying. So you're absolutely right, Sal. And he's a quick learner, and so is Miguel. So I stand corrected.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe Daniel LaRusso has an in at our state Department of Motor Vehicles.
I think you're right. So then Sam kisses Miguel. Miguel doesn't see Tori at first. She's over there working, so Sam's like, oh yeah, this is another moment, another dig, another point.
Yes.
Kisses Miguel. Tori's fed up. That's it. She's ready to quit another job, Sal.
And did you hear that guy yelling?
Oh yeah.
Mike. Hey, no brakes.
Yeah, exactly. So then she walks out and we see her go out the back door in her street clothes. Notice the Vans t-shirt, but okay. And Amanda chases her. So now
she throws her wig. She
slams
her wig into the trash.
But Amanda chases her. She's been trying to make amends since Kreese dropped this knowledge on her at the grocery store. And she says, no one can help you if you don't let them. If you ask, you might be surprised, because they have this exchange back and forth. And she even steps to Amanda in one scene, like, whoa, like half threatening, like a little half step. Mm-hmm. But they have this exchange. And even that little bit, Sal, I think that little bit got through to Tori.
Like, no, but hey, you know what I'm realizing? You know what I'm realizing, Jason? I'm thinking that, I mean, they don't say this yet, but I'm thinking that Amanda relates to Tori.
We don't know her background.
We don't know Amanda's background. Does she relate to a young?
We don't know anything about her, like pre-Daniel.
No. So she is reaching out to Tori again. Her daughter's arch rival, in a fashion that I think is, it's one thing to want to help people and be one of those types of people. That's wonderful. But why is she doing this? Why is she seems to be almost going after Tori?
Yeah. Well, I think she could see what's been happening. And she probably feels for the fact that she's the supporter, the breadwinner, the provider for her family. Her mother's sick, and then she got her fired that day. No doubt about that.
Wow.
At the restaurant. So there's a lot of guilt that Amanda has.
Wow.
So now we're back to Johnny's apartment, and he's prepping the manly meal. And Sal, I love that poster on the wall. I didn't notice it before for some reason, but it just stood out. Got the three ladies poolside, legs up, hilarious.
Yeah,
perfect for Johnny's place to overlook the dining room table. And he spots Miguel coming home, right? Because they just live right across 1 and 2. And he invites him over, but we find out what?
Well, he invites Miguel over to have manwiches. But unfortunately, Miguel has already eaten with the LaRussos at Katsuya.
Yep.
And by the way, Jason, I have been to Katsuya. It is
so Chef Katsuya.
No.
What's his name? Yuichi. He's the real chef. He really is the chef there. So I love that he mentions that Daniel knows the chef. So shout out to Katsuya and the actual chef. So he got a shout out in the show.
Well, there you go. So it's not that far-fetched that maybe Daniel has a connection at the DMV. He's
Sal, he's all Valley champ 2 times. And he knew how to exploit it, where Johnny, not so much.
No.
Not so much. But Sal, Johnny's feeling left out again because he's already eaten, and he's like, and Miguel didn't do it out of spite. He's like, oh, we ate and it was great, and I'm going to go see Sam later. So here he is. He's already had the thing with Robbie. He's got to have this conversation with Miguel. He can't have sex with Carmen until he gets things straight.
Yes.
He's got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, I'm loving how Miguel says, you didn't tell me about Chicago.
Yeah.
Huh? And what happened in Chicago?
What happened in Chicago? You're going to Chicago now? Yeah, he didn't even know about the car. I mean, he knew they were working on the car, but Daniel paid for it, of course, right? And I'm sure mechanics also had a helping hand. Then he finds out about the driving lesson.
Yeah.
We don't know if he got his license yet, because that's just too much. And then Sal, he mentions Peter Cetera.
I'm loving that. This is meta. This is the show itself going meta.
So meta. And what does Johnny say about Peter Cetera?
Johnny Lawrence says, Peter Cetera is the opposite of badass. What happened to Scorpions? Slaughter. And by the way, just to be absolutely clear to maybe the new initiate.
Yeah, please educate.
Glory of Love by Peter Cetera was the theme song of Karate Kid 2, if I'm not mistaken. Was it the theme song?
Yeah, there's even a great music video, which we broke down on Let's Talk Cobra Kai. There's also an episode on Cobra Kai named Glory of Love. So there's lots of tie-ins, lots of things pointing to Peter Cetera being a badass. But we know where Johnny's coming from. It's too light for him. Ask Johnny what he thinks about Air Supply. I'm sure he'd have an answer.
I want to know, has Peter Cetera seen this?
I don't know about that.
I would love to see.
Let's get a reaction video.
I would love to see that.
So they decide, though, because, tonight's not going to work. But I do like the fact that Miguel's like, hey, man, which is tomorrow night? He's such a good kid, such an earnest kid. And so, Johnny's like, yeah, okay. So just postpone, kick it to the curb one more night. That's okay.
Yeah, you can, you know what? Everything Johnny set out, you could put that in the refrigerator, microwave it, nuke it the next day. It'd be just fine.
Or he could eat it all and make it again. It doesn't matter. So now, Sal, we are at the drive-in.
Nice.
And I wonder if this is the San Fernando Valley Drive-In Theater at Lake Balboa, because there is one currently that I found out about.
It's got to be a pop-up then. It's not a permanent installation.
No. I mean, if you go back and watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's masterpiece, they kind of show the old Van Nuys Drive-In
Yes,
from back
yes,
in the
and
day.
that was on Roscoe Boulevard in Van Nuys. And by the way, there was another one on Winnetka Boulevard. I think it was called the Winnetka Drive-In. That I believe is a Pacific's movie theater now that is going to be demolished for condo construction. That's going to go. Okay, then there was a third location. Now, when I was a kid there, it was a swap meet. It was called the San Fernando Swap Meet on the northeast end of the San Fernando Valley in the city of San Fernando. That swap meet was a former drive-in, but we're going back to like the 50s and 60s.
Okay.
So when I was a kid there, I went there with my dad, and they had this little sideshow, and you pay like $1 or $2. You go to see, and we saw this baby in a jar, a Bicephaly.
Oh my god!
Baby in a jar. It was a two-headed baby in a jar at the San Fernando swap meet at the former drive-in location. But
to bring it all the way back around.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Thank you.
So they are there to see blood sport. Sal,
nice.
I love Kyler's reaction to, well, first of all, he's never seen it, but he's like, what's he say when he sees Van Damme go down on, his famous splits and does like a punch to someone's family jewels? What does he say? Because it's so well done.
I don't remember what he said, but I do remember his excitement. He was big time excited about
Jean-Claude Van Damme, right when he hits him in the jewels. It was so great.
Yeah. I did like Kyler's reaction to see this movie. It was fun.
You love it. And then Kyler goes on to really haze Kenny, almost like new guy. And he wants him to get 2 buckets of popcorn with butter, 4 large Cokes, 2 hot dogs with mustard, no ketchup, pretzel, nachos with extra cheese, jalapeno poppers. Sal, I thought when Robbie got out of the car to say, hey, listen, it's just some hazing, I thought he was going to give Kenny some money, because I'm factoring, this is like $60-70 for stuff here. I did quick math. I used to work in a movie theater back in high school and in college. No, Robbie doesn't give him money. He asks for a Butterfinger on top of that. So here goes poor Kenny. He's got to fork out some money, go get all this. Can't even carry it all. But who does he run into other than Bert and Nathaniel? And they're chit-chatting about Lexi DeMarco, how maybe Nathaniel's getting catfished.
I liked his answer to that. His answer was, that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, so good.
So worth it.
And then, of course, just like in the restroom, Hawk steps up because Kenny's got everything. He's already ordered. He's got all this stuff. And Hawk comes in and knocks all the concessions over.
Yeah. What's that? $70 there all over the floor.
Down the drain. Yeah.
Now, if you had the Butterfinger would have been in the wrapper, though. So that could have been salvaged.
Maybe in his pocket, So
well, then it's melted. Then it's ruined.
But things begin to escalate, and Cobra Kai, Miyagi-Do, Eagle Fang have a standoff right here at the drive-in.
Yeah, this is a good moment. And of course, Dimitri walks up.
Oh my gosh, so good. I love what he has to say here. And he's spot on. Please.
Wait, what is he excited because the concession stand has Mr. Pibb and Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, they're like cousins.
Yeah, because normally you're going to have one or the other, right?
One or the other, right.
Yeah, they have them both. He's excited about that.
Then there's some name calling, princess, of course, calling Tori.
It's princess. A good back and forth here.
Yeah,
good back
mommy, because Amanda seems to be fighting Samantha's battles now. And then Miguel's solution is, okay, fine. No weapons, but meet us at the baseball diamond in 30 minutes. And that's probably also in Balboa Park, my assumption, because they've been there before.
I like the no weapons comment. That reads back to old gangs. Outsiders, didn't they mention that in the Outsiders at least once? No weapons rule?
that big, that big fight rumble at the end was no weapons.
Yeah,
and they have a good old fashioned clean fight. Yeah. Well, when this happens out, once Miguel put this in motion, I instantly knew what was going to happen. Even before we're at the baseball field, I told it to Sophia. I was like, oh, they're not going to go fight tonight. They're not supposed to do that. What's going to happen is this. And sure enough, what happens?
Well, first of all, I was distracted by the beautiful full moon. I don't know why they wanted to show there was a full moon, but it was indeed a full moon. We just had our recent wolf moon last night. That was fantastic and gorgeous. We had wolf games here. We had a real nice party. So they showed it was a full moon. They're there on the baseball field. Yes.
We should tell people to go listen to the Let's Talk Movies first episode, which is
Let's Talk Movies first episode.
An American Werewolf in London.
Was that the first episode?
Yeah, you and I said we kicked it off. So what a perfect thing to go visit that movie, that particular scene by scene breakdown because of the Wolf Moon. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It is. No, and that's fine. And you know what? I was just talking to someone in their 30s. Someone in their 30s, born in 83.
Yep.
Never seen American Werewolf in London.
I'm jealous because that's such a great movie. They get to experience it for the first time.
Yeah.
Ah, so good.
Well, I showed them the transformation scene on YouTube, and they thought it was really cool. Yeah. So that was a treat. So yeah, full moon at the baseball field.
Yep.
And the sprinklers all come on. How the hell did you see that coming? I didn't see that coming.
I just knew when he put that in play, I knew it wasn't going to be a showdown. And I thought, well, what would they be there for? I've seen this before. And I knew they were going to dial up the sprinklers and just kind of get it like a ha, ha, ha. And that's what happens. They're all there getting doused wet. You see Hawk is driving a car. First time we've ever seen him drive a car, by the way. And he backs up and 4 of them are in, then they take off and they get a good laugh.
Yeah.
And they're mad. You could tell the Cobra Kai students are like,
oh yeah.
Seething.
They're seething. They're seething.
So now we're at the Cobra Kai Dojo, and the students are still reacting to what happened. And Kyler has a plan on another home invasion. You know,
so is that what he's doing?
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, I think another home invasion. Like, oh my gosh. So hearing this, Sal, Kreese and Silver in the back, and they're like, look at our students. They're all, caught up in this revenge thing. And then we start to understand Kreese's side from the past, because there's 2 sides to every story. And this is back to the origin of Cobra Kai, in which, while I love this episode so much, this exchange here is amazing. And I'm going to have you, if you will, take Terry Silver, I'll take John Kreese, and we'll kind of go back and forth on this wonderful dialogue.
Yeah, this is the dynamic.
Or anything else you want to say before that?
No. This is good. I really like. I relish the dialogue between Kreese and Silver because there's so much history. There's more history between Kreese and Silver than between anybody.
Yeah, yeah. They go back to the 60s, man. They go back to Vietnam. Come on.
Yeah. So Terry Silver says to Kreese, "I agreed to come back to do what we originally set out to do, to turn kids into winners, to bring Cobra Kai back to its former glory. But if we're going to do that, we have to learn from our mistakes."
What mistakes?
You had the entire valley in the palm of your hand and you blew it, all because of the rivalry you had with Miyagi.
He attacked my students. You weren't there. I'll never forget that morning when Johnny Lawrence, my champion, came into the dojo with a black eye and his confidence shattered. I wasn't going to let that old man get away with that.
I understand. But now we're the old men, and we should use the wisdom we've learned. Cobra Kai, it was never about revenge. It was about building strength by taking your fears and turning them into a weapon. That's what we should be focused on. If we're going to just rehash the past, history will just repeat itself all over again.
So you're saying after they humiliated our students, we just stand down and do nothing?
I didn't say we do nothing.
And then Kreese gives him that look like, all right, tell me more. Such a great scene.
And there was a flashback to the original Karate Kid when we do see Johnny Lawrence there in the dojo with his black eye. We do see Miyagi and Daniel standing there, and you get this other perspective you never really thought about before.
Yeah, what's he know? He just knows his students are beat up. One is in a cast, by the way.
Hello.
And then he's like, this guy did it? What's going on here? Who's this guy? And who's this other guy that he's mentoring? We'll handle it on the mat. Absolutely. And then he was embarrassed when they didn't beat the kid and the guy that beat up his students, and went a little too far with Johnny. But you're right. It's a very different perspective. I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying we'd never heard him talk about it.
I like, and one thing we've learned from Cobra Kai and Daniel and Johnny is that there are different perspectives and outlooks on the same situation. That's why they say eyewitness testimony is the worst testimony. Actually, eyewitness testimony. but I like hearing the different perspectives. I do too. I was like, oh, what was your take on that? So here we get a little sliver of John Kreese's take on that Karate Kid scenario that we'd never thought about before. I love that.
Very good scene. And again, could almost end the episode here. This show's so good about that. You could have just brought up the logo and the, but it's okay. We have one more scene and it's always great. Back to Miyagi-Do. And Sal, we learned that Miguel has even more nicknames because last episode he got a few. Dimitri's calling him the Rainmaker.
Yes.
And then Hawk's calling him El Diablo de la Lluvia, which is the Rain Devil.
Nice. And I like the way Hawk belted that out.
Oh, yeah.
He belted that out. In Mexican language would be called almost a grito. It's called a grito. Yeah. He almost belted that out as a grito. Any Mexicans or Mexican Americans would understand exactly what I'm saying.
That was only my first take at it, Sal. So sorry. I haven't rehearsed this for weeks, but
Hawk grew up in the San Fernando. No, wait, he grew up in the San Fernando Valley? Well, okay. Let's assume he did. Let's assume he grew up in the San Fernando Valley. So he would have probably heard some of his friends say similar things because he has a pretty good accent.
Very good. Johnny is upset when he learns about the sprinkler stunt because he knows you're poking the bear. What are you doing? If you do that, you've just, caused them to retaliate. That's how Johnny looks at things. Yeah. Meanwhile, Daniel, proud of Miguel for showing restraint, for thinking outside the box. It's so funny. It's like both can work, but both aren't right and wrong. And so it's, Johnny's becoming more and more disenfranchised with this union. Yeah. And this leads to something, Sal, that we knew it was going to happen because we saw it in the trailer. But oh my gosh, who comes to the Miyagi-Do dojo? Uninvited, I might add.
Uninvited, and at first we see the feet. I like that style.
Love that shot.
I love when we see the feet and then it goes up. I really love that the slow reveal from the ground up, and we see Kreese and Terry walk in, and then we see DaniellaRusso start to go into PTSD mode. And we see flashbacks to Karate Kid 3. And I love that line from Terry Silver. Wake up and smell the coffee, Mr. LaRusso.
Yeah, that's so good. So good.
Now, nobody else knows who this is, right? Miguel doesn't know who this is.
No,
Johnny doesn't know who this is.
And we talked about this. Like, there's a chance back in the day that Silver could have popped by the dojo and seen his star student. But from his reaction and what we learned later, he does not know Terry Silver.
Wow. And then we also have the flashback from Karate Kid 3 there in the dojo when Silver yells out, "From now on, when people say karate around here, what they'll mean is Cobra Kai karate, John Kreese's karate."
Yeah, what was that? I wrote that down too. Like, I know it was in the movie, but I haven't revisited that particular scene in a while. It's like John Kreese's karate.
Yeah.
Wow. That was very interesting. And then Terry Silver has one last great line in the moment at Miyagi-Do dojo. Yep. And what does he say?
"Gentlemen, it seems we have a few things to discuss."
And that's all he needs to say.
Oh, the look on Daniel's face. You know what? When did we see the look on Daniel's face like that? Maybe when he saw Chosen? Maybe.
Right, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he is definitely seeing Ghost from the past. Absolutely.
Oh,
that's the end of the episode. Incredible episode. I know we went longer tonight because there was these larger moments to unpack. And some episodes kind of fly by. They have shorter scenes, and some have these heavier dialogue. Great scenes.
Wow.
Wonderful, wonderful episode.
Yeah. What a ride. What a
ride indeed.
Man.
And not to make it any longer, we probably should wrap up, but it was a great ending to episode 4. We're almost at the halfway mark. And then it's the home stretch from there, Sal. And I am loving every minute of this. I'm so excited to go back and revisit episode 5 now for notes, find little things and differentiate 5 from 6 and 7 and remember that and come back and share our thoughts.
Yeah, I'm telling you, watch the whole season, binge on the season as everybody's doing, but you go back and then watch them one by one. It's like watching them all over again. It's not ruined, even though it's already spoiled for you.
Right.
It's not really spoiled. It's a new experience all over again.
It's not. So we have another word from our sponsor before we wrap up. Anything else you want to add, Sal?
Oh no, I'm recovering. I'm
recovering. I'm worn out just from our recap.
I feel like it was like a sparring match almost.
Yeah, totally.
That's how much activity and excitement there is. Man, I'm looking forward to covering more of this season and am dying to know about season 5, which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, they said season 5 is wrapped.
Yeah, I'm not even. I can't look, Sal. I don't want to know anything right now. I'm in the moment. I'm living episode by episode.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
So unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
And get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code cobrakai at manscaped.com.
So thank you so much for listening. And please be sure to subscribe to the Let's Talk Movies podcast, as well as the Let's Talk Movies. Oh my gosh, I say Let's Talk Movies. Reset. I got my mind on American Werewolf in London. Take 2. Thank you so much for listening. And please be sure to subscribe to the Let's Talk Cobra Kai podcast, as well as the Let's Talk Cobra Kai YouTube live channel. You can also really help us by giving the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts.
And for all you listeners that enjoy sharing your thoughts, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, send us a direct message, or post a comment on any Let's Talk Cobra Kai social media platform.
If you're a dedicated listener or viewer of Let's Talk Cobra Kai, please consider supporting the show on Patreon. We also highly recommend checking out our other podcast and visiting justcuriousmedia.com.
No mercy.
Great job.
Thank you.